Welcome to Royal Cape Yacht Club TV, where real sailors come for their yachting fix, courtesy of Cape Town's Tavern of the Seas. Today, we start off by interviewing two Canadians, Greg and Megan Harris, who are currently waiting out the pandemic in Portsmouth, Dominican Republic in the Caribbean. We catch up with them courtesy of a beach bar Wi-Fi and Zoom. Links to that Instagram feed and blog page are in the description below. Go and check them out for more information.
My name's Megan. This is Greg.
I'm Greg.
We've been together for many, many years, since we were kids, actually. And we have 3 children of our own and been living on our boat full-time since last summer.
Fantastic. And very quickly, tell us where you are in the world and maybe because of the virus, the pandemic, tell us what lockdown means for you.
Well, we are originally from Canada and are currently in the Commonwealth of Dominica, which is kind of right in the middle of the island chain in the Caribbean. And we've been here for 7 weeks. We were planning to hang out here for about a month, and obviously our stay has been massively extended. Lockdown for us here means a 12-hour curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. on weekdays, where we're not to leave the boat, and then all weekend as well. In between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. during the week, we can go to shore to provision, get any medical things you need, get cash, that kind of thing. And we are allowed to snorkel and dinghy, as well as walk on land, though away from town. We're to essentially stay out of town except for necessities.
Yeah. I think longer term, the whole lockdown situation is going to start impacting us with respect to hurricane season fairly soon, because our original plan was to head further south, sort of out of the typical hurricane strike zone, either to Grenada or Trinidad, both of which right now have their borders closed. So we're kind of watching that situation daily to get some find out as soon as we can whether those borders are going to open and whether we're going to be able to get out of here before those big name storms start coming through. Because we definitely don't want to be where we are sort of past the beginning of August.
Fantastic. And tell us what boat are you on? What boat do you have?
We're on a Halbergrassi, an HR-46. Nice solid cruising boat with our family of 5. Yep. Feels big sometimes, but right now it feels a little small.
Right now it feels very, very small.
and take us back to the beginning. I mean, we met online and through Instagram. You guys are from Toronto, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And,
we are.
And you started your sailing on the lake.
We did, actually. We grew up sailing or boating on Lake Erie, and when we were kids. Greg's dad is a lifetime sailor. My parents were into power boats back then. And then when we started sailing as a couple, that was maybe 15 years ago, on Lake Ontario, when we got our first boat. We had a J24 to have a little fun racy time. And then as we had more kids, we had a Beneteau First 36-7, which was also a really fun, fast lake boat as well. And sailing Lake Ontario was great. There's lots of variability in terms of winds, but it's nice deep water and it's cold and clear and lots of places to go. Not a lot of anchorages, but lots of clubs and marinas that you can go and enjoy all the way up to the St. Lawrence. And
so was there much space for cruising on the lake?
You want to comment?
So we both raced and cruised for a bunch of years. We actually crewed on someone else's boat as far as the racing goes, which we always found was way less expensive and way more fun, honestly, than doing it on our own boat. So we were kind of selfish there. But as far as cruising goes, we cruised for many weeks during the Canadian summer. So the cruising season there runs from, say, the middle of May to the middle of October. So not a super long season, but we would, typically take 2 or 3 weeks away from work during the summers with the family and cruise up and down the lake. And, the smaller weekend trips in between that.
And how long have you been on Matriarch?
We moved on to Matriarch full-time July 2nd last year. We stayed for Canada Day at home, and then we
Which is
drove,
July 1st.
Which is July 1st. And then we drove down into the States. The boat was in Deal, Maryland, where we bought her. And we were in the Chesapeake for the summer before heading into Norfolk, and then from
Virginia.
Norfolk to Bermuda, Norfolk, Virginia to Bermuda, and then Bermuda down to St. Martin is how we got down here.
And did you have to do a lot of prep on the boat, or did you buy a vessel that was ready to rock and roll?
I think I would say that we bought a vessel that was pretty close to ready. Our boat has been around the world once. The previous owners had her for 7 years, and they did the world arc.
Right.
They left from the Chesapeake and circled the globe and brought it back, and it sat probably on the hard for 6 months before we bought it. Now, we made a number of improvements and upgrades as you have to do with, you know, any cruising boat. But I would say, honestly, our biggest challenge to getting off the dock, so to speak, was actually just learning the boat itself, right? Because from coming from a sort of a much lighter, smaller racer cruiser, the most complexity in our previous boat was basically the sail handling and getting it to sail fast, which is where we spend most of our attention then. And it quickly turned into learning all of the different cruising systems, you know, from the water maker to the air conditioning to the, you know, the various communications equipment, all of the different stuff that we found ourselves learning, and it was quite a steep curve to begin with. So between sort of the learning about the boat and then doing a bunch of upgrades, like we added solar and a few davits and a few things that we felt we needed for our family, that took us, you know, we spent July, August, and part of September of last year doing that at the dock, and then left and went offshore at the beginning of November.
Yeah.
So Matriarch has probably been to Cape Town then. If they did the World Arc, they would have checked in at Cape Town
absolutely.
for sure. Yeah,
It has definitely been to Cape Town. Yeah.
Good. And then, Greg, I'm going to ask you first. 3 must-haves for cruising.
Man, you had to ask me first, Pete. Okay, 3 must-haves for cruising. I think that for the type of cruising that we're doing, it's probably a different answer. I think it depends a lot on where
He's
you
sitting
are.
on the fence right now.
And I'm buying myself time to think. So I think that the number one thing for me, it would be a really good dinghy and outboard to go with that, especially if you're planning to be away from marinas for months and months at a time. We haven't been into truly on a dock since last October or November, and that dinghy takes us everywhere, us and the kids. So it's really, really important to have something good as far as that goes. So that'd be number one. Number two, I think for my list would be the water maker, because you know, just being able to have a freshwater shower, do your laundry whenever you want, and just like the lifestyle and improvement and flexibility that gives you is, I think, really, really important, at least for us. And then for 3, what would the cruising? I'm going to pass it over to you. Give me your top 2, and then I'll go back to number 3.
Fair enough. I would say, for peace of mind and as well as safety and whatnot, your ground tackle and your chain.
Oh, man, I should have said that. Absolutely. How did I not think of that?
I mean, we because we haven't been on a dock for a long time. That was part of the learning curve, was learning to sleep at night and not freak out that you're gonna drag.
Right.
You know, and we have had moments where we've dragged or actually been snagged by another cruiser's hook.
Wow.
And lifted, and we moved at night, and you know, so you just need to be able to have faith that your anchor's going to hold and that you've got the right amount of chain out, and you know, like that's really critical. So we chose we have a 77-pound spade, And so far it's been fantastic. We've had no complaints. We upsized a little bit for the size of the boat, but I mean, 77 pounds doesn't sound like a lot when your boat weighs like whatever our boat weighs, a lot.
Yeah.
So that I think is imperative for cruising if you plan on anchoring everywhere. That's essential. I think another really, I wouldn't say, well, it's close to a must-have if you have a family, is a freezer. And we have a small freezer on our boat. It's adequate. A bigger freezer would be better, but it's, you know, it's fine. It's like the size of maybe a small cooler, like one that you might take to the beach with you for the day or something. And that's, I mean, we're in an island, like Dominica is just unbelievably like gifted with fresh fruits and vegetables. Everything grows here. You could take a branch, stick it in the ground, and it'll turn into something amazing. The downside for us is that our freezer is so small that, you know, you're getting fresh produce and you have to eat it very quickly, which is wonderful. But we'd like to be able to save more than we can, especially before going on passage. It takes a lot of planning to store food when you have a small freezer. The HR-46 is insane for storage for dry goods. There's so much space. It's a wonderfully designed boat. But for a family of 5, and our kids are 12, 9, and 7, and they just eat all the time. It's hard to keep up, and it'd be nice to be able to have more fresh fruits and vegetables frozen for when we're on passage. So you're back to your number 3. Do you know what your number 3 is?
Yeah, for me, but this kind of comes with your boat choice. For us with the kids, I think that having a layout in your boat that gives you like some separation if you're cruising with your kids, like long term.
We love them, but
we love them, but oh my gosh, sometimes you just need like a little separation, especially like what we have right now, where we're kind of stuck on the boat for extended periods. You need a layout where you've got some separation, which we have with a nice aft cabin, and then a whole engine room and galley separates the master suite from the salon, and the kids are way up crammed in the bow, so we really can't even hear them if we shut the door. So that's nice.
Cool.
I would say my number 3 is some kind of renewable energy production. I mean, we run our generator when we make water, which is about every 3 days. And the generator is great. What is it, like a Fisher Panda 8 kilowatt generator? It's quiet, it's efficient, it's great, but it's nice to not have to run that. And so we don't have a ton of solar. We have 385 watt panel on the back that we put on top of our davits. And it's a brand new panel, great, efficient, works well. And then we have a wind generator as well, a D400, and it's also good. You know, there's limitations in terms of what we can do with the boat size and design that we have. I mean, if we had a beautiful catamaran like you, Pete, we could just solar it out, but we don't, not yet anyway, maybe someday. But you know, but having that is a good peace of mind. I mean, we've met other cruisers that have to run their generator for hours every day, which would be a bit of a limit. I mean, it's a lifestyle limitation, you know, to have to know that you have to do that every day. So yeah, I think that's, for us, it's important.
And then very quickly, because we're about to run out of time, and we'll start with Megan. What do you miss the most?
About being back in Canada, or?
Well, yeah, about being on the land.
Oh, boy, that's a tough question. I mean, obviously friends and family, but it's not that bad because we do stuff like this, and we stay connected. I think this is gonna sound so trite though, but I kind of miss like being able to go into a huge grocery store and get like tofu and like just random stuff that you just really take for granted, I think, at home. And I mean, we're eating great food, like fresh tomatoes and whatever we could want in terms of fresh fruits and vegetables. So it's lovely. But I do miss some of those, like, you know, like a big thing of cashews, or like, I don't know. It's pretty minor though, but yeah, I'd say some certain variety in foods that I miss.
I think for me, it's like fast, reliable, readily available internet wherever you go. Like
stress-free internet.
Right now, it's actually quite good. We're
Yeah.
lucky where we're kind of locked down
On this island,
because we can come to shore and get good Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and we have a good cell connection. But that gets expensive depending on how you're using
Other
it.
islands has been tough though.
Yeah, but in other
Frustrating.
places it's been tough, and of course when you're offshore, it's like it's non-existent. So that'd be the one thing for me.
Mhm.
Cool. That was Greg and Megan Harris. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and want to see more, and links to their Instagram feeds and to their blog are in the description below. Have a great sailing day.